All right. Welcome back. It's Bruce with the Epic Experiment. Another week, another deck tech. Let's talk. This week we're talking Trostani Selesnya's Voice. It's green, white for a legendary creature Dryad. She's a 2/5. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain life equal to that creature's toughness. And then a green, and a white, and a tap, and you populate, which is a mechanic from Return to Ravnica that says put a token onto the battlefield that's a copy of a creature token you control. So you are being rewarded for having other tokens on the battlefield. So this is a token deck. Now, the interesting thing with Populate is that some token strategies reward you for going wide with lots of small tokens. This deck rewards you for going for some of the chunkier options as far as tokens. So you're going to notice that the tokens that I make here are probably going to be a little bit bigger than you would find in most token decks, which is a product of the Populate, where you can get some bigger things into play. All right, so let's talk about Trostani. So first off, this is an older deck of mine. So I built this a long time ago. Return to Ravnica was now 2013, so it's a long time ago. It was autumn 2012. So it's a long time ago that the Trostani has come out, and it's probably been power crept pretty good since then. And it is one of my first builds that I had. I built a number of the cons from Fate Reforged, but then I turned myself to a few of the other ones that I liked, including Trostani. So what you're going to notice is that there's sort of what I would call pockets of synergy rather than a cohesive plan across the deck. But it still tends to lead to the same outcome of make a lot of things go wide and then find a way to get the win. There's no combo here. There is, I guess, one powerful impacted play that we'll talk about in a bit. But generally speaking, this deck pads its life total pretty high, makes it hard for it to die, and then uses its high life total to leverage into large tokens and then smash your opponents to death. So let's talk how this goes. Let's talk about the ramp first. Not a lot. This is an older version, so this is what I would have run years ago. So I have a Sol Ring because everything needs a Sol Ring. Look at that nice, pretty Sol Ring. I like that one. We have a Sky Shroud Claim. Sky Shroud Claim is an excellent card. Search the library for up to 2 forest cards, both of them on the battlefield, then shuffle. I have a Nissa's Renewal. This one's a funny one. I play because it makes me laugh. 5 and a green, sorcery. Search your library for up to 3 basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield, tap and shuffle your library. You gain 7 life. And then we have a Steve. Secure Tribe Elder, 1 and a green, sack it to go put a basic land into play, tapped. Alright, so that's all the ramp I have in the deck. You're basically the idea being that you're going to generate enough fat life total that you're going to be able to withstand some knocks and help your deck find what you need to get through. All right. Also, card draw wise, there's another big one that people are going to come out on as far as a topic. We've got only a limited number of ways to draw cards. Well, that's okay because we're generating cards with our Trostani. In fact, you would rather use Trostani's Populate ability and make more tokens than cast spells from your hand. So we're going to have things like a Harmonize. All right, just 2 green, draw 3 cards. We have a Rishkar's Expertise. 4 green, draw cards equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. That's pretty big when you have big fat tokens. We're going to have a Garrick the Wild Speaker, which we've talked about this one before. This is the wrong one. So 2 green, so untap 2 target lands, put a 3/3 beast token into play. So you're looking to get the beast token into play and then populate that. We also have a Tamio's Journal, which is something I've forgotten about from years ago, but I kind of like it. And so 5 mana for a legendary artifact. At the beginning of your upkeep, investigate. And then tap, sack 3 clues, search your library for a card, put that card into your hand, then shuffle your library. So it could be a tutor effect, but it's a very slow tutor effect. Generally speaking, what you're doing is you're going to use the token, the investigate token, which is a clue, to go and help you draw through your your deck. It also synergizes really well, so like Call for Unity. 3 white, enchantment with Revolt. At the beginning of your end step, if a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn, put a unity counter on call for unity. Creatures you control get +1/+1 for each unity counter on call for unity. So this is going to take even small tokens and make them into very large tokens very quickly. And so the investigate tokens from the Tamiyo's journal, but a few other things here that are poking around that you can sacrifice or have leave the battlefield can make your other existing tokens very, very potent. All right, we've also got a couple of other planeswalkers up here that I like to play. So this is Nissa, Voices Zendikar. So 1 green for 3 loyalty Nissa. +1, put a 0/1 plant creature token onto the battlefield. -2, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. And then -7, you gain X life, draw X cards, where X is the number of lands you control. I've never ultimated this card. Is usually some combination of put counters on your things and make plant tokens. Then we have a Ajani Unyielding, so 4 white, green for loyalty Ajani. The +2, reveal the top 3 cards of your library. Put all non-land permanent cards revealed this way into your hand and the rest of the bottom of your library. So it's going to help simulate card advantage. -2, exile target creature. Its controller gains life equal to its power. So a source of plowshares effect. And -9, put 5+1/+1 counters on each creature you control. I've never ultimated this one. It's either +2, -2. You're looking for cards. You're looking to remove a thing. Last but not least, we have Huatli Radiant Champion. So 2 white, green, 3 loyalty Huatli. +1, put a loyalty counter on Huatli Radiant Champion for each creature you control. -1, target creature gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the greatest number of creatures you control. And then -8, you get an emblem with whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. So this one is pretty easy. If you play this to the mid to late game with any sort of board state, you're going to have enough creatures to put this probably in range to ultimate, and then ultimate it, and then now you have the emblem and you're drawing cards. It is a surprisingly potent card. If it gets left or you can protect it, it is very potent. That ultimate is very much a thing and is very much in play. People forgot about this one because of the fact that so much of Ixalan was forgettable. Huatli Radiant Champion is quite strong. All right, let's talk about how we don't lose the game, because we're going to have some interaction, and we're in colors that have a hard time interacting. So Kasali Pride Mage, we can use this as sacrifice to destroy target artifact or enchantment. That's really what it's there for. It's not really there for anything else, but that's why we have it. We have a collective effort. So this is 1 white for a sorcery with Escalate. So you can tap an untapped creature you control. Choose 1 or more. Destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. Destroy target enchantment. Put a +1/+1 counter on each creature target player controls. All right, so all the modes are useful. It's just at sorcery speed, which is not so great. We have a Winds of Abandon. So 1 and a white, sorcery, exile target creature you don't control. For each creature exiled this way, its controller searches their library for basic land. Those players put those cards onto the battlefield tapped and shuffle the libraries. All right, so, and there's Overload for 4 white. So at 4 white, this turns into a mass exile effect, and you're going to hopefully be banking on they cannot find a basic land card, and you're going to punish them for that too. So really like this as a board wipe effect. We have a Selesnya Charm, white and green, has got 3 modes. Target creature gets +2/+2 and gains trample. Exile target creature with power 5 or greater, or put a 2/2 white knight creature token with vigilance onto the battlefield. So the fact that you can use this to make a token is good, because if that's what you need to get the populate game going, then you need it. Right? So, but it's also a way to exile a really big thing and get it out of the way. We have a Reclamation Sage. All right, Reclamation Sage, 2 in green, destroy target enchantment or artifact. Just like Kasali Pride Mage, that's why it's here. It's not a token maker. It just makes sure that you can remove that troublesome thing. We have a Planar Cleansing. 3 white, destroy all non-land permanents. I don't like to play this sort of effect because I'm usually banking. I need to have a heavy creature deck, so I want to have creatures, but sometimes you got to have a reset button to get rid of everything. Then we also have a Divine Reckoning. So 2 white, each player chooses a creature he or she controls, destroy the rest, and it's got a flashback cost. So you might notice at this point now, I'm talking like probably a 4 white deck between Winds of Abandon, Planar Cleansing, and Divine Reckoning. We also have a very pretty Swords to Plowshares from Ice Age. That's really pretty. I really like the look of that one. And then we have Angel of Sanctions. Angel of Sanctions, 3 white white for 3/4. It's like an O-ring effect on a creature, but it also has Embalm. And the Embalm is what you really want. You want this in your graveyard, and you want to embalm it back into play because it comes back as a token that you can now populate. And every time you populate it, you get to O-ring something, and then they all their things go away, and your opponents are very, very sad. All right, so cool card. Kind of neat way to try and work around some removal. All right, let's talk about how we're going to make tokens, because we kind of got to get there and make some tokens. There's lots of ways we're going to make them. So, Advent of the Worm. So 1 green, green, white. This one makes 5/5 green worm tokens. That's exactly the sort of token you want to populate with your Trostani. Makes them big and fat. Trostani Summoner, 5 green, white for a elf shaman. She's a creature. She's a 1/1. When Trostani Summoner enters the battlefield, put a 2/2 white knight, a 3/3 green centaur, and a 4/4 green rhino creature token with trample onto the battlefield. So you're getting 7 mana here to get a 2/2, a 3/3, a 4/4, and a 1/1. So you're getting like maximum value out of this. You're getting 9 power and toughness across 4 bodies for 7 mana. That's pretty good rate. Glistening Dawn, 2 green, green, sorcery, incubate, X twice, where X is the number of lands you control. So you make tokens of artifacts, and then you can flip them up into creatures that have that many number of +1/+1 counters on it. And X is where X is the number of lands you control. Yeah, you make big chonky tokens with that. They're a minimum 4/4, and you're probably getting more. King Darien, too much. I don't know what all those Roman numerals are, but 1 green white for a 2/3 legendary creature, human soldier. Other creatures you control get +1/+1. Not really why you're playing this. 3 white green, put a +1/+1 counter on King Darien, and create a 1/1 white soldier token. Sacrifice King Darien, create creature tokens you control gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. There it is. Because if your opponents try and blow your board out, you can respond and make them indestructible and hexproof. We have Queen Alanal of Ruadak. So she's 1 white white for a star legendary creature, elf noble. Queen Alanal Ruandak's power and toughness are each equal to the number of creatures you control. If 1 or more creature tokens would be created under your control, those tokens plus a 1/1 white soldier token are created instead. We're making more tokens. Yes, please. Godpharaoh's Gift. This is a 7 mana artifact. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may exile a creature card from your graveyard. If you do, create a token that's a copy of that card, except as a 4/4 black zombie. It gains haste until end of turn. So we can turn some of these other creatures, we'll talk about them in a second, into a zombie token that I can then populate. Hornet Queen, 4 green, 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 2/2, makes 4 1/1 green insect creature tokens with flying and death touch, making more tokens. Legion's Landing. So this is makes a 1/1 white vampire token when it comes into play. When you attack with 3 or more, you flip it, and then it's a land, so it actually kind of ramps you a little bit. But it also has an ability where it turns into makes 2 and a white, create a 1/1 white vampire creature token with lifelink. So you have a creature or a land that makes you creatures on the back. Grove of the Guardian. So this is a land that taps for a colorless, but 3 green, white, tap 2 untapped creatures you control, and sacrifice Groves of the Guardian. Put an 8/8 green and white elemental creature token with vigilance onto the battlefield, making an 8/8. Trostani can very easily populate that 2 times, 3 times, and away you go. Growing Ranks. So 2, and then Selesnya. So it's an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, populate. So more populate, making more big fat tokens. We have Vutu Ghazi Guildmage, green white for a 2/2, and then it's a Dryad Shaman for 4 green white. Put a 3/3 green centaur creature token onto the battlefield. Populate 2 green white. So the populate is what you want there. You want to populate again. You could repeatedly populate with that one. God Eternal Oketra, 3 green, 3 white, 3/6 double striking zombie god. Whenever you cast a creature spell, create a 4/4 black zombie warrior creature token with vigilance. When God of Ketra dies or is put into exile from the battlefield, you may put it on into its owner's library 3rd from the top, making it a very tricky thing to keep dead. All right, so the fact that this makes more tokens that are pretty big, chunky tokens is exactly what you want. All right, Anointed Possession and Parallel Lives are exactly the sort of thing that this deck needs and wants. These create one or more creature tokens under your control. It creates twice that many. So those are super potent cards in this deck. Second Harvest, 2 green instant for each token you control. Put a token onto the battlefield. It's a copy of that permanent. As instant speed, this thing is silly. If you have 4 tokens, the fact that you untap with 8 is amazing. We have a Heliod, God of the Sun, 3 and a white for a 5/6 legendary creature, indestructible god. As long as your devotion to white is less than 5, Heliod isn't a creature. Other creatures you control have vigilance. Cool. Not really super what we're looking for. 2 white, put a 2/1 white cleric enchantment creature token onto the battlefield. Okay, we're putting tokens onto the battlefield. Herald of Anafenza, single white for a 1/2. It's a human soldier with Outlast. So 2 and a white, and you can tap this. Whenever you activate Herald of Anafenza's Outlast ability, put a 1/1 white warrior creature token onto the battlefield. Okay, more tokens. We have a March of the Multitudes, my mistake. X, green, white, instant with Convoke. Create X, 1/1 white soldier tokens with lifelink. This card makes a bundle of tokens. It is really, really good. And then we have Angelic Accord, 3 white enchantment. At the beginning of each end step, if you gain 4 more life this turn, put a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying onto the battlefield. That, since Trostani is going to be gaining life, it's not going to be hard to trigger this to make a token regularly. Okay. Then, once you've made your tokens, we're going to be doing things like the Wind Crystal. 2 white. White spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. If you would gain life, you gain twice that much life instead. And 4 white, tap. Creatures you control gain flying and lifelink until end of turn. If you make a bunch of zombie tokens or, I don't care, any tokens, and now they all have flying and lifelink, you're going to be probably winning the game pretty handily thanks to that one. Nature's Chosen, so single green for an enchantment. This is a funny one. Play it on a creature you control. 0, untap enchanted creature. Use this ability only during your turn and only once each turn. 0, tap enchanted creature and to untap target artifact. Okay, not relevant. What we're doing is we're sticking this on Trostani so we get an extra untap with Trostani to populate some more. Collective Blessing. So 3 green, white creature tokens. Creatures you control get +3/+3. So this makes your 1/1 Anafenza tokens that you just made that are 1/1s, or those 2/1s with Heliod, or all those other things into very significant tokens that need to be answered. Okay. We have a Reconnaissance. Another way to gut Trostani, tap and then use this ability to remove it from combat, so you can then also tap with it to use the populate ability or to pull another important creature out of combat if you need to. Growing Rites of Itlamok transforms into a Cradle. So this is one, if you are making heavy token decks, you need to have a Growing Rites of Itlamok. And then Divine Visitation, 3 white, enchantment. If one or more creature tokens would be created under your control, that many 4/4 white angel creature tokens with flying and vigilance are created instead. So instead of making 1/1s and 2/1s, you're making 4/4 angel tokens. Yes, flying angel tokens is the order of the day. We have some other utility creatures that are going to be going on in here. So we have Trostani Discordant. So this was another version of Trostani. I like this one for the following reasons. So this is 3 white for a 1/4. Other creatures you control get +1/+1. When Trostani Discordant enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 white soldier creature tokens with lifelink. They're easily going to be 4/4 angels, I can almost guarantee you. At the beginning of your end step, each player gains control of all creatures they own. So if somebody is getting frisky with stealing stuff, then Trostani's going to make sure you get them back. So it's kind of like Homeward Path, but only for creatures. Soul Zendikar, so 4 green it's an avatar with reach. Has 3 green, put a 3/3 green beast creature token onto the battlefield, and then 3 green, exile Soul Zendikar from your graveyard, put a 3/3 beast creature token onto the battlefield. This is just if you need to put a mana dump to put some tokens into play, this will do it. Soul Zendikar, Soul of New Phyrexia is interesting. 6 for a 6/6 with trample. 5 colors mana. Permanents you control gain indestructible end of turn. This is protection against board wipes, super useful. 5, an exile Soul of New Phyrexia from your graveyard. Permanents you control gain indestructible until end of turn. Soul of Theros, 4 white for a 6/6 with vigilance. 4 white creatures you control get +2/+2 till and gain first strike and life until end of turn. So you're going to give them more life padding, and then it can also do it from your graveyard with the same text. Okay. We have a Quirion Ranger, so you return a forest to your hand to untap a creature. We're untapping Trostani, so we can use this ability again. Shauna, Sisay's Legacy, so green, white for legendary creature, human warrior. Shauna, Sisay's Legacy can't be the target of abilities your opponents control. Shauna gets +1/+1 for each creature you control, so this gets pretty big. You can attack with it with relative impunity. Verdant Sun's Avatar, 5 green, 5/5 dinosaur avatar. And has the same text as Trostani. Whenever Verdant Sun's Avatar or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain life equal to that creature's toughness. Drum Bellower. This untaps all your creatures on each player's untap step, so Trostani can populate at everybody's turn, and even better than that, you can gain life and then trigger the Angelic Accord, making more angels. Is pretty handy. Gallag Readers, 1 and a green, 1/1 with Alliance, and so when a creature enters the battlefield, you got to put a +1/+1 counter on Gallag Reader. You get tap treasure token, or you gain 2 life. This will probably hit all 3 modes most turns that you cast or use it. Tireless Tracker I like very much. 2 and green. Basically says whenever you have landfall, you investigate, and then when you sacrifice a clue, you put a +1/+1 counter on Tireless Tracker. I like this one in conjunction with Tamiyo's Journal, so that's another way to make some extra clue tokens, but not a necessity. Just make land drops, get tokens, draw cards. Okay. Wingmate Rock, so 3 white for a 3/4 creature bird with flying and raid. When Wingmate Rock enters the battlefield, if you attacked with a creature this turn, put a 3/4 white bird creature token with flying onto the battlefield. And whenever Wingmate Rock attacks, you may gain 1 life for each attacking creature. So this one is super handy because it usually makes you a token that is a flying token, which is super good to have. And then Emiria Shepherd is 5 white for a 4/4 legendary creature angel with landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may return target non-land permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. If that land is a plains, you may return that non-land permanent card to the battlefield instead. Well, this actually is super easy with Sakura Tribe Elder, so you can actually do this repeatedly with Sakura Tribe Elder, whereby you tap Sakura Tribe Elder and sacrifice it to go find a basic, preferably a white plains, which allows you to put the Sakura Tribe Elder back from your graveyard back into play to rinse and repeat. So you draw all the plains out of your deck, meaning that you're not going to have to worry about that. You have lots of mana to use. So it's pretty neat trick. All right. What else have we got? We have a little package of synergy. We have 3 Eldrazi. We have a Conduit of Ruin, a World Breaker, and an Ulamog with Ceaseless Hunger. So the Conduit of Ruin will allow you to go find either of these other 2 to help you go do stuff. The World Breaker is handy because you can then you exile an artifact, enchantment, or land, so deal with something problematic. Ulamog exiles 2 things as it's cast, and then it's a real big problem because it's indestructible. And if I remember the text on this right, because this is in Chinese, so it's whenever it attacks, there's an attack trigger where the opponent you're attacking exiles the top 20 cards of their library. So big old thumpers that are going to help you get the job done. Then we have a couple of things here. We have some tutors, Congregation at Dawn, and Traverse the Ulvenwald. All right, so Congregation at Dawn, green, white, instant. Search your library for up to 3 creature cards and reveal them. Shuffle your library, then put those cards on top of it in any order. So before you untap, you go and find 3 creatures. You put Craterhoof Behemoth on top of your library, and you probably got the win. Traverse the Ulvenwald, search your library for a single green, search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. If you have Delirium, you can go find a creature, put it into or a land, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle. So if you can make Delirium, you're going to be able to find that you can go and find your Craterhoof and probably put the nail in the coffin. So this would be a bracket 3 deck because there's some heavy hitting pieces in it. But I've played this against bracket 2, no trouble at all. So if you have a bracket 2 deck, this deck can play with them, and it's no issue. I would say the current decks of precons are stronger than this sort of build anyway. It's fun. It's big and stompy, and it's like if you love battle cruiser magic, this is the kind of thing you're into. This is good fun. All right, the list is down below. Check it out if you want. All my deck lists are also available at the Moxfield at the epexperiment.com. Sorry, Epic Experiment Podcast. If you want to check out our weekly podcast, you can go check out the link down below. It is also there each and every week. We have a podcast. You check it out. Also, like and subscribe. We're up to almost 60 followers. We'd love to get to 100 by Labor Day. Today being mid-July, we've got some time to get there. So help us out. Help us break that 100 for the Labor Day and the start of the new school year. All right, folks, that's me. That's Trostani, Selesnya's voice. Wishing you all a good night, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye.